Hey, welcome back to the channel. Soloing over this G major backing track is as simple as 1, 2, 3. Check this out. In today's lesson, I will show you everything you need to know to solo over this G major backing track. So grab your guitar and let's get to it. So the chords in these examples today are G, E minor, C, and D. So those are all in the key of G, but what does that mean? That means they can be built using the G major scale. That elementary scale we've heard 1,000 times, this is how chords are built. So in the key of G, the one chord is a G, 2 is an A minor, 3 is B minor, 4 is a C, 5 is a D, 6 is an E minor, the 7th chord is a F sharp diminished, and then back to G. This 7-note scale is how those chords are built we just played. So if you hear somebody refer to a chord as like a 1-4-5 progression, and in this case today it's a 1-6-4-5 progression, that means the 1 chord, G, the 6th chord, E minor, the 4 chord, C, and the 5 chord is D. And we all need to know some theory. It really gives us some structure and confidence in our guitar playing. So let's look at these chords down here. G, E minor, C, and D, playing the open string notes of the G major scale. It's that simple. All those notes fit over those chords because that's how all the chords are built from those notes. But we can transfer this information up and down the fretboard just how we did it right here in this open string position. Another great way to use this scale is to use it in a linear way, up and down the fretboard this way. It's just a great tool to get up and down the fretboard and connect these positions. And I'll leave a link for all the G major scale positions because you can connect this stuff on your own. I'm going to give you some good framework to start with today. All the notes fit, but you're playing, it sounds totally different when you play that way, and in a good way. So if you strike the note twice, then slide down to the next note in the scale is a good way to do it. You can also use this open string G to walk up the scale 2 at a time using the open G. So 3 notes. lot of different ways you can use those. That's just a great tool to move up and down the fretboard. Now the G major pentatonic and the G major scale are really closely linked. Like I said before, the G major scale is a 7-note scale. Let's go in a familiar position here in the 12th fret for some of you. And then the octave. 7 notes though. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then the octave is 8. But the pentatonic, G major pentatonic, is only a 5-note scale. So the notes that we're not using are the C and the F sharp. But knowing that those are available is pretty darn important. So pentatonic right there. The major scale right there. But knowing that, you can do a lot of things with that. Just with the major scale adds so much to that. Hey, but stay with me because shortly I'm going to break down those solo ideas I used in the intro, and they stem from everything we learned today. But moving on, let's take a closer look at these chords. We're going to look at the triads, the 3 notes that make up the chords. And for the G chord, it's a G, B, and D. E minor is a E, G, B. C is a C, E, G. And then the D is D, F sharp, and A. So those notes obviously are all over the neck, but really I want you to look at the shape of the chord. For the G, we're going to use this shape, and this shape. And a great way to practice this is how I did in the intro. Just find a few positions and then go back and forth with them. G, E minor, C, D. That is such a good way to solo, is looking at those chord shapes within the scale that you're working with. For some of you that might look complicated, but I'm telling you it is not. We are looking at the chords. We start with a G chord here and the open G through using the scale. And then just pulling down to that A note. Open G. And moving up to the D note, which is the 5th of that G chord. Then we're going to E minor. So we're hitting raking those 2 strings in the 3rd fret of the E string and the 3rd fret of the B string, and then bending a whole tone up on the G string from the 2nd fret here. Bending to the B note. Great lick. Country bluesy sounding. Kind of end it with an open G. You can't go wrong with the open G in this progression. So hammering on to the 2nd fret of the D string, an open G. One more time. So we're sliding up to this position, which is a part of the C chord. That's what I'm looking at when I do something like that. We just changed to a C chord, so I'm just using a piece of the C here. Really bluesy sound right there. Still in C, and then we're getting ready to go to the D chord, which is an A note, which is the 5th of the D chord. Breaking these two notes here, I'm still looking at this, really. The triad of the D is right there. But I'm breaking it this way with my pinky. Then I bend a whole tone up to this F sharp note, which sounds again real bluesy. And then we're going to go back to G again. Walking right down the scale. This isn't, we're doing this over the E minor chord right here. Bending a whole tone up. I use my third finger and my pinky sometimes, depending on what I'm doing. I probably will do it more with my pinky in this situation because I like to walk down the scale after that. Because you can walk right down the G major scale right there. Because you have the scales right here. Really trusting on that G note right there for a lot of this. And then going up to be going to the C chord. So we're bending a whole tone up. The 3rd of the C chord is an E. We're hitting a G here. The 5th of a C chord is a G. So we're hitting a couple tones in the C chord right as we do that little bluesy lick. Then we release it to the D. Now we're on the D chord, so we're hitting the D, A. So we're hitting all the chord tones in the D chord. D, A. Because when we bend a whole tone up, it's F sharp. Such a great country blues lick. I love that. And then as it goes back to the G, you just use a piece of the G chord. Hopefully you could hear all those chords changing as I play those little phrases. That should be your goal, to have the sound coming through those notes. I know I gave you a lot of information today, but it's so important to have some theory under your belt. It gives you a lot of confidence when you go to play anything, chords and solos. The major scale is the mother of all scales. Most of our music that we listen to is based off the major scale. And we really pass by it a lot of times. And I did for years, didn't even acknowledge it really, but it's so important. Hopefully I gave you a few ideas of how to put that into your playing, but it can really make you sound melodic because you're using, the notes of the scale are in those chords. So I hope you try this out. I hope you got something from the lesson, and hopefully we'll see you soon.